Thanks for coming. My goodness, obviously, we've had interesting, I think, incredible, horrible situations occur. And this morning I woke up like y'all did, and I saw that. So I don't want to sound shallow, but our thoughts and prayers are with the victims. And if there's anything we can do, we will. And it's a tough situation. Rutgers game, I'll give you the awards like we normally do. Where are they? Okay, there we go. Defense, guys, great champions. Nick Bosa. Jonathan Cooper, was great to see him get extended action. Jalen Holmes, we moved him into 3 technique and played very well. Sam Hubbard, Taekwon Lewis, Chase Young, obviously a lot of defensive linemen that got opportunity. Denzel Ward played very good. Damon Arnett and Jordan Fuller. So we're starting to see areas that needed to improve, improving. Player of the game was Dante Booker. It was great to see him have that opportunity and a sack and interception. On offense, you have Terry McLaurin, graded champion. Our overall receivers, I expected more out of our guys. Running backs, we had 3 of them. Mike Weber, great to have him back. J.K. Dobbins and Demario McCall. Offensive line, you had 2, Jamarco Jones and Billy Price. We expect that group to play better. And tight ends, Marcus Blah, as I think it's two weeks in a row. So he's got some momentum in his life and also on the field. We had co-players of the game, Johnny Dixon. Obviously, we all feel strong about him, the journey he's been on, and J.T. Barrett, obviously breaking our Schleister's record and had a very efficient game for us. Kicking game was outstanding. We had a nice kickoff return, and kickoff team is getting back to the expectation level we have. We did make a change at kicker. Right now it looks like Nuremberger will be doing our kickoffs. We were not good at that position. Special efforts were Zach Tournier, tackle inside the, we had all kinds of tackles. Looks like we had 5 of them inside the 20-yard line, which is, they averaged 10 yards per return, and we had 5, even with some poor kicks. So these special efforts for tackles inside the 20 were Zach Tournier, Austin Mack, Isaiah Pryor, Pete Werner, and Jeff Okuda, all very valuable members of our team. We call it Thursday race, and that's just extreme effort running down the field. That's Jeff Okuda. In the Special Teams Player League, there's arguably say one of the most improved players on our team the last couple of weeks, and that's Pete Werner. And buy stock in that guy for his career. He's got some good stuff going right now. So with that said, playing a very good Maryland team that beat Texas and came back with their 3rd-string quarterback and really looked much improved against Minnesota. And it's great to be back home, and I'll answer your questions for you.
Front row left, Mitch. Urban, the passing game has looked better to everyone, I think. But considering who you played, how much better is it? I mean, are you seeing?
I think I made a comment, I forget how I said it, but I see improvement as well. This whole team is the good thing about this team and coaching staff. You're not walking around with blinders on, and we know exactly, we're optimistic and we're pleased with the progress, but we're also realistic. Where are we? And to answer your question, I think we've improved. Like you probably, anybody can see we improved. At what, when it comes time this week, can we continue against very good competition?
Front row right, Bill.
Mike Weber came back, looked good. Ben Victor made some nice plays. Even McCall, even though you don't think he's 100%, made some plays. How good do you feel about the development and the sprouting, I guess, of playmakers right now?
I feel very good. I think, once again, the question was asked, we're also very realistic, J.K. Dobbins, I think, only had 6 carries. We want to get him 12 to 15, but things happen, and all of a sudden you look up at the scoreboard and say, get him out of the game, because there was no other reason that we pulled him out other than that. And say Mike Weber had 3 touchdowns, but we didn't get him loose. And so there's areas of improvement. To answer your question, I feel like the normal development of playmakers is taking place.
What's the next step? Who are the
do
guys
it against a better team like Maryland, who's a very good team, and that's the next step.
Front row middle, Dave.
There were 4 players that missed the Rutgers game that I want to ask you about. You touched on this briefly after the game, but we can go one by one. Draymond Jones, is he out?
He'll be back. He's out this week. We're anticipating Nebraska.
Okay. And then Chris Worley,
And he's probable this week.
Antonio Williams,
Questionable this week.
and then the final one, Eric Smith. What's the latest?
Yeah, he's got to handle his business. I don't believe he won't play this week. He's got to take care of his business.
Far right over here, Clay.
You mentioned Las Vegas. I noticed Tate and Haskell have tweeted this morning. Any particular interaction with them? Or
Not yet. They'll come in to see me. They're off today. Matter of fact, I'll probably get with them right after this. Yeah.
Far left, front row, Bill Landis.
Urban, obviously here, and I'm surely at Florida too, you guys recruited at a very high level, but before that, earlier in your career, can you explain maybe how tough it is when you're in a recruiting battle and you think you might have a guy and you know that guy could be an instant impact starter for your team, and then he picks a program where he's going to go and get buried on the depth chart for whatever reason? Like, how tough is that when you're that other program who misses out on a potential starter?
Oh, it's awful. You know, we've had guys, I remember at Utah or something, you'd have a kid up until the 3 days before signing date, and then USC would come in, or, you know, and that's, I guess I was out, my coaches would get mad at me, and I'd say, you know, don't get mad at the kid, what would you do? You know, if you have an opportunity to double your salary and go, you know, because Utah back then wasn't in the Pac-12. Obviously, I'm not ditching Utah, I'm just saying back then we're in the Mountain West Conference. And I said, don't get mad at the player. That's what you would do. So it was very frustrating. But I took a much different approach. You always have the B list at once again, when I say Utah, they're the Pac-12. They're on the same level now. Back then, or a Bowling Green you have to have a B and a C list ready to go.
I guess the flip of that now would be when you're recruiting guys here at Ohio State, how often do you come against whoever you're going against selling early playing times because of the talent that you've accumulated? How much of a battle is
that comes up?
Yeah.
But those are the guys that you don't want to recruit anyways. If that comes up, that I'd much easier way to the field, then will help you make that decision. Don't come here.
Far left, Matt.
What does it tell you, like, Maryland this early in the season being on their third quarterback, and to get a win like they got last weekend, just does that say anything to your coach about the team, about how they're being coached? What jumps out?
Well, Coach Durkin was my graduate assistant at, I met with our staff a minute ago, and he coached with me at Bowling Green, and he was a GA that I was ready to make full-time when he was 21 years old. And then I tried to hire him a couple other times, and then we got him at Florida, and he's an impact coach, and I think of all the guys I've had, he's one of the top 2 or 3 that I've ever had on our staff. And you see I just got done watching special teams, and it's a typical extremely well coached team where the guys go as hard as they possibly can. So I'm not surprised, and but he's one of my favorite coaches we've ever had, and one of the best coaches.
This may go back to exactly how you answered about the offensive weapons, but pass defense, are you seeing what you want to see, or is it?
I am. It's once again, we're realistic. This will be a nice challenge where they did a nice job with this quarterback that very efficient, very highly accurate, especially on the RPO and short passing. So this will be a better challenge. I have seen I think it's a lot like the pass game, where pleased with the progress when you start seeing, Jordan Fuller's playing at a very high level right now, and the corners are getting better and better and better. But we're also realistic.
Front row right here, Austin.
Urban, you've talked several times about wanting to see the results against a better level of competition. When you go through a stretch like the last 3 weeks, now that it's over, do you have to do anything as a coach to keep them focused when on paper you should win no matter what in those 3 weeks, if you know what I mean? Do you have to bring more energy yourself? How do you challenge guys when those are 3 weeks?
I think the coaching is more, it's not grammatically correct, the coaching, it's almost cheerleading at some point when you're playing a noon game against a lesser team. The good thing about last week was that our players saw that what they did to Washington. It's almost every time as a coach, you hope you see stuff on videotape, because the videotape will, there's a bunch of smart guys in here, smarter than coaches, because they know exactly who they're getting ready to go play. Their punt returner against Rutgers didn't play. We showed a 10-play highlight video of him that he's as good as anybody we've ever had as a returner. So videotape is the great motivator. And this week's, they went down to Austin, Texas, and then they beat Minnesota up at Minnesota. So to answer your question, yeah, it's unique. Sometimes we don't even show videotape as we're getting ready to play a team, and to make it about something else other than the game.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Because it seemed like 2 weeks ago you kind of came into the stadium, you ran across the field. It was different high fives and hugs than normal. I just wonder if that's a conscious effort that you know it's a possibility. Maybe
If it was, I would not tell you.
Fair enough.
Second row middle, Jeremy.
Since Maryland and Rutgers joined the Big Ten, you guys have gone to the New Jersey and Maryland, DMV area a lot more in recruiting. Now that DJ kind of has Maryland on the right track, is it harder for you with the money that Under Armour's putting into their program?
Absolutely.
Have you guys noticed more resistance there?
Yes. They're a formidable challenge. They always have been, because Maryland's got, it's kind of a nice place, and there's a lot of DMV loyalty. We've got some very good players out of there, but I know the way he recruits, and we just there's really good players in that area.
In that area, you kind of keep Larry Johnson staying there, as opposed to with some of the other assistants, it's more regional or more position-based. Is that part of the approach because of the loyalty to the DMV?
Yeah, because he's so well respected in that area. He gets. He knows the uncles, he knows the coaches. A lot of the coaches there played for him, or he knew him as players, so he's just deeply ingrained in that area.
Front row left, Doug.
Urban, you mentioned Jalen Holmes moving inside for that game with Draymond out. I know you guys have the Rushman package and you have versatility on that line, but can a lot of guys do that? I mean, it's like he was an end and he sort of became a tackle for a game.
Taekwon can do that as well. We play him in there sometimes. They got the body type. A lot of time Bosa, you probably don't want to get him in there, and then Sam Hubbard, you wouldn't want to get in there. So it's it's a grown man position in there, and you can print to say Bosa and Hubbard aren't tough enough to get in there. Say Jerry Emick said that. That's not true, of course, but I just think, to answer your question, Jalen and Taekwon got the strength and the body type to get in there.
I mean, you have a lot of good players on that defensive line. I mean, Jalen really is he's a pretty versatile,
oh, he's fantastic
guy.
And he's even a better person, a leader, and yeah, he's great.
And then one of the you guys have hit this pass to Johnny a couple times. You have the routes that cross underneath and that receiver settles behind. It's been very effective. Why does it keep working?
That's Ryan Day brought that whole package to us. It's been really dynamic. It's been it started against the big hits we had against Indiana were the same package. Now it's about 7 or 8 different concepts off of that. So he's made us. A lot of times I get questioned about when you hire a coach, do you let him enhance your offense? Ryan Day enhanced our offense, and it's been very successful.
And final couple questioners. Second row right, Tony.
Urban, how do you feel the linebackers are playing this year? I know Dante, it was good to see him, but are they?
I thought just okay. I think the last week, when you start listing, and I complimented Coach Davis about the energy and about you should have seen the meeting room yesterday when Hilliard and Zach Turnier and Pete Werner and Baron Browning are game changers on special teams, and then your backers start playing like they did. That's power of the unit. That unit's got some momentum right now.
You've got several players that are sort of are they reaching up to the starters, or are the starters like not distancing themselves from?
No, the recruiting classes the last 2 years have been good. They're pushing. They're nipping at the. I made a comment. I know one thing. Pete Werner should be somewhere. What he's been doing the last few weeks. I mean, he's fast as you know what. He's a great kid. He's tough as anybody. So.
And final set of questions. Front row, Tim.
Yeah, Urban. As you look at your offense right now, do you? We've been asking this for a while, but do you now really truly envision both running backs? I'm talking about your top 2 running backs on the field at the same time at some point. And what does that give you from a flexibility standpoint?
That's fantastic, and he's been cleared, and he played extended time, so we're putting together the 20 grouping or 21 grouping, and that's 2 backs, 1 tight end, 2 backs, no tight end, and so that's if they're best 11, and I do that myself each week. Who are your best 11 players? If they're in the best 11, which right now they are, get them on the field.
Terry McLaurin had 2 15-yard penalties on the same play, but he was a champion. How did he resurrect his score, I guess? I mean,
that was a head coach's decision because I like Terry.
But then on top of that, I mean,
true. If I didn't like him, he wouldn't have been a great champion.
What did he bring, I guess, to the table besides that?
Same thing he brings every day. And yeah, we don't condone that, and I had a little chat with him, but you guys probably know Terry. You know, he's everything you want, and don't do that. But there was a cheap shot on him early in the game, bad one, and a tough guy like that carried with him for a while.
Yeah, it seemed like it did. And the other thing, do you see your receivers, for want of another word, playing with a little bit of a nasty streak now that maybe they didn't have? I mean,
I see that.
Do you see that evolving?
Yeah, just disappointed though. Early in the game, we didn't make we had a couple opportunities, we didn't do it. But yeah, I see it very tough. One of the toughest groups we've ever had at that position. I mean, I'm talking about 16 years. Those guys are tough guys, and it's led by Terry and Parrish. They're the leaders drive the culture, which drives the behavior, and they're driving it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.